Peace to Hearts. What's up? It's your boy Eru, host of the Diehard podcast. This is Diehard State of Mind by myself right at the moment because State is at work getting himself together. He should pop in a second. But today I'm rocking with Stupid Videos, man. So we're going to talk about him. He's actually a draft expert. I would like him to get, all his points across so you guys can get to know him. He has a lot of good content on his Twitter page, man. So we'll get him right in here right now so we can just start this up. What's going on, man? So
what's going on?
Should I call you stupid?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Should I call you stupid?
Hey man, call me whatever you want. A lot of people go by that. I don't care. My name's Stupid Videos, so hey man. Whatever you want to call me. My name's also Mike. You can call me Mike, Stupid Videos, Stupid. Don't really care. No preference.
Okay. How about this? I'm gonna call you stupid because constantly calling you stupid is kind of like crazy.
I feel that, especially somebody comes in here and is like, what the hell? You just calling this dude stupid? All right.
Yeah. But I get it, man. So let's get stupid with this whole thing, right?
Word up.
That's like a little dry, corny joke there. But you've been going crazy on Twitter, man. I'm seeing the evolution of it. You started it off. You had you had your little the little picture there, but you didn't match the picture to your name, and now you match the picture to the name and stuff. But what sticks out the most to me now is like this draft stuff. You really are showing off your chops as far as like being an expert and stuff. So I'm gonna call you expert. You're like the Twitter draft expert for us Knicks fans here.
Sorry, say that again. Sorry, you kind of cut out there again, of course.
Yeah, no, I'm just calling you the Twitter draft expert.
Yeah. You want to start off with number one?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. So number one currently, this one I know is probably gonna be a little bit controversial, but number one overall, I got Chet Holmgren. So let's go into my little scouting report thing I got going on here. So Chet Holmgren to me is an elite shot blocker due to his elite timing, hand-eye coordination, and anticipation skills, with an elite standing reach and overall defensive IQ as well for a freshman center. And he knows how to use those elite attributes very well for a 19-year-old 7-footer, in my opinion. He understands angles and how to use them against his opponents to compensate for his lack of strength very well, and on both ends too. He can guard majority of people 3 through 5 extremely well for someone his height. I would say he's probably a better defender 3 through 5 than majority of 7-footers in the league currently. He is a 7'6" wingspan, and from all accounts is a legitimate 7-footer. He's an elite shooter for a 7-footer with a 37.5% three-point attempt rate and a 39% three-point percentage. He's got elite touch around the rim with an above 70% two-point percentage and borderline elite touch at the free throw line as well with a 72% free throw percentage, which is, of course, amazing for somebody with his combination of skill, talent, age, and length. He's not afraid to draw contact at a 36.2% free throw attempt rate, which is pretty solid when you realize his 38.4% three-point attempt rate. And not only that, but he had Drew Timme deep in the post often, which forced Chet out a lot of times and made him move onto the perimeter where, of course, you're not going to get fouled as much. Every advanced metric points to this kid being I can curse in this, right?
Like a motherfucker.
Perfect, yeah. So every advanced metric points to this kid being a fucking demigod. He's got solid footwork from all 3 levels, shows a 3-level scoring potential, which is, huge, especially for big men today. I'm of the believer you don't take a big unless you see him being at least an all-star in the top 5, and I'm got him in my first tier, which is my perennial all-star tier. So I think pretty highly of him. And I should say tier 1 is my perennial all-star potential tier. But and not only that, but he's also a very good he's got a very good passer for a 19-year-old as well. But of course, the biggest thing when it comes to him that people tend to mention is his incredible skinny body for an NBA big man. And I mean, you have to wonder if someone that skinny can ever be an all-star player or win a Defense Player of the Year award, or if he can even stay healthy for that matter. If he, I don't even know if an extra 15 to 20 pounds of muscle will do it. He may need an extra like 30, 35 pounds of muscle if he wants to be good enough to be an all-star and Defensive Player of the Year kind of guy, which he definitely can be. And like I said, he's great at using angles to his advantage to make up for his lack of strength. But, of course, that's also in the NCAA. The NBA is, of course, a totally different game. I would say he also kind of overly relies on his length on both ends. He isn't the greatest perimeter self-creator yet. He may lose some of his switchability once he gains some of that weight, which, of course, he's going to need to gain. He should struggle when he first gets in the league against the bigger centers and power forwards of the league. And he is also an older freshman who will be 20 years old on draft day. So, yeah, I'll likely take a couple seasons from to showcase why he's worthy of a top 3 pick, but I believe in him a lot. And not only that, but I did notice at Gonzaga, it looked like he gained a good amount of weight. Because I want to say like when they were first doing like his preseason pictures and you like to do all that marketing stuff in the beginning of the year, he looked pretty skinny, but it looked like he gained a good amount of weight. So yeah, I'm a big fan of him, and yeah, that's my number 1 overall guy. What do you guys think about Chet, or would you guys have somebody different number 1? Which I would assume you would. I think Chet's kind of a little bit controversial at the moment as a number 1, but yeah, go in.
I had to mute myself. Yeah, man. I was listening to you. Good points by Chet, man. I agree with everything, man. But I kind of like Banchero a little bit better. What do you think about Banchero?
I love Paolo, man. I love him a lot. I'm going to be honest with you, though. The big thing that kind of scares me about Paolo is his defense and his jump shot from the outside. But really, those are the only 2 things. I'll say this. I think from day one, he's going to win Rookie of the Year. And day one, it's going to be between him and Ivey, I should say. Either him or Ivey are going to win Rookie of the Year. I think he might be the most polished player in the entire draft at the moment. But at the same time, I can't see him ever being a real plus on the defensive end, which kind of scares me. He's pretty slow laterally, and defensive IQ definitely needs a little bit of work. But offensively, there is a lot to love. And if he can become a plus 3-point shooter at the small forward or power forward position, he's going to be a killer, man. He's going to be averaging 25 plus points a game if he can do that. I mean, the dude is 6'10", which obviously that's huge. That's like in today's game, that's a center. And this dude's playing like a shooting guard, but he's got center size. I mean, that's just absolutely crazy. Got a lot of upside as a playmaker. As I saw here, it looks like he had a positive assisted turnover ratio, which is relatively rare for someone who is a Duke kid that's 6'10", 250 pounds, and only 19 years old and will only be 19 still on draft day. He doesn't really have any glaring flaws in his offensive game. I mean, I would say like his biggest flaw at the moment would probably have to be his, I don't even know, because even his 3-point shot, it was pretty good at Duke. It's just the form looked a little different, and it was very hot and cold. But, yeah, he doesn't really have any glaring weaknesses. Like, for example, you look at Chet, and you're like, all right, this guy, he's definitely skinny. That's a glaring weakness. You don't really see that with Paolo. So he's kind of like, how do I put it? He's kind of like an RJ in the way that he's got a bunch of tools in his bag, but I wouldn't say necessarily has an elite one. But he is going to be a damn good player, and if that 3-point shot comes along to the point that he's a plus shooter in the league, he's going to be a killer. I love Paolo.
Yeah, so I mean, the top 3 picks, allegedly they're supposed to be all big men, man. So they're all going to be ranked with each other for like the next 10 years. They're always going to be compared to each other and stuff. So I mean, how does Chet and Banchero, how do they match up with each other? Along with I guess you can talk about the other guy too, Mr. Jalen Smith. Excuse me, Jabari Smith.
Yeah, Jabari. The big thing about Jabari is his defense. That's what I really love about him, to be honest. If him and Paolo were on the same level defensively, I would definitely have Paolo ranked well above him. I'd probably put him in a different tier. But to me, Jabari, he's just such a great defender. He's got great footwork, amazing lateral quickness. He's very athletic on the defensive end. He's one of the better shooters that are 6'10" or taller that I've seen coming out as a freshman. You can tell the game comes easy to him and that he doesn't have to work very hard to score against NCAA athletes. He's a very fluid and agile athlete. He's got pretty broad shoulders and a lean body, which shows that he should be able to put on muscle pretty easily in the league, which should help his low 2-point percentage and his lack of ability to get to the rim in college and finish through some contact. He's got a very fundamentally sound turnaround jumper in the mid-range game, which should be a solid go-to move for him, especially since a lot of taller forwards love using that move. He's got elite hand-eye coordination, anticipation, and defensive IQ for someone whose age and size. And he also has a very good understanding of how to use angles, much like Chet, to stop his opponents on defense and take advantage of his opponents on offense, which leads to a lot of easy buckets in isolation and him ranking a good gathering up a good amount of steals and blocks for Auburn. You could argue his archetype is exactly what you need in a modern four, which is a very efficient stretch four that can play elite defense for you. Jumper's mechanically sound, and he's got 3-level scoring potential. So that's the big reason I'm hiring him. I get why people aren't. He doesn't have the deepest bag when it comes to the mid-range. His 2-point percentage is a little low for someone who's 6'10", but besides those two parts of his game and maybe his playmaking, which, out of a four, you don't really need elite playmaking unless he's handling the ball a lot, which I don't think Jabari will be doing early in his career. But I really like him a lot long-term because I think he's going to be an all-around player, kind of like a Rashard Lewis type of guy, and I think he's a really safe grab.
Yeah, I was trying to Google who that player was. I was thinking of Rashard Lewis, but I was trying to Google his name and stuff. But he definitely sticks out to me as Rashard Lewis. Just a 3-and-D kind of guy. But what sticks out with Jabari Smith to me is his confidence. He has like extreme confidence. I think he thinks he's better than he actually is. But then he might actually, just from that drive alone, I think that might drive him to be the player that he thinks he is.
Yeah, I've actually listened to him in a couple of interviews. Very confident guy, like you said, very sure of himself, and he seems pretty positive he's going to be an all-star in the league. He doesn't really seem like somebody. Seems pretty intelligent. He doesn't really seem like somebody who's going to cause any problems. He's confident, but I wouldn't say cocky. He's somewhere in the middle. I'm trying to think of like a comparison, like maybe like an Emmanuel Quickly, where like he's humble but confident at the same time, kind of personality-wise, somewhere around there.
Yeah, ADHD. He got that ADHD.
Yep. So that's probably what I would go with Jabari. And he also, to me, if I had to give him a comparison, I kind of compare him to a 6'10" Gary Trent Jr. That's who he reminds me a lot of, which to me, that's a damn good player, especially if he has a similar lateral quickness that Gary has, because most guys 6'10" are relatively slow, and I can promise you he's not. So
yeah. Well, we got State walking around here with a busted hand, and he's trying to find his spot to chill and shit. So we'll get to State in a second as soon as he gets settled. But I wanted to go back to Chet also, man. I like Drew Time a lot. So they kind of play the same position. So I'm looking at a guy like Drew Time, like he went back to Gonzaga because he probably would have ended up being either undrafted or at the bottom of the draft. So how does somebody that's averaging more points than him, more seasoned and stuff like that, get passed up in that way compared to like a Chet or somebody similar to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty simple. His shooting, he doesn't really have much of a shot. He's obviously a lot older. I want to say he's like 21 or 22. I believe he's a junior. I think this is going to be a senior season coming up. So he's kind of like a Luka Garza kind of prospect, or maybe like a Kelly Olynyk. Best case scenario if he learns how to shoot. But his defense it's pretty bad, man. I mean, I've watched him. He's got some of the slowest feet in the drafts. I believe he's only like 6'10". He's a little fat, I would also say. No offense to him. I mean, I'm sure he's in great shape for a normal human being, but by NBA person standards, he's got a little bit of baby fat on him that he's definitely got to get off, and he's had it for his entire collegiate career. So you have to imagine a lot of that's probably going to stay on at the NBA level. And a lot of it just comes down to two things. It's really just his defense and his shooting. And if he can become a good shooter, I can see him being like a late first, kind of being like a Kelly Olynyk type of guy. But I don't ever see him being an elite defender and elite like Chet. He was out the gate, like amazing on both ends. Drew, it took him really till his second year to kind of stick out. So yeah, that's probably the big difference would be, of course, the defense, the shooting, where they are at the same age, and of course the length and athleticism.
Yeah, I got you. So I mean, Orlando Magic. What player do you think they should take?
Yo, Eru, real quick, give me. Oh, hey, what's up, Stop Videos? Hey, what's up, Eru? Eru, give me like 10 minutes, real quick,
man.
So I can for this guy.
All right, cool, man. Do your thing. Just pop in when you get settled, man.
All right.
All right, so I'll pop State out. When State pops in, I'll drop him in there. So I mean, like, for Orlando Magic, everyone just most of the mock drafts has Jabari Smith there, but you like Chet, but I like Banchero. So I mean, looking at Orlando Magic, what do they do, to start the draft off?
Honestly, I'll tell you, I would go Chet, and here's why. I think he's a perfect fit next to a Wendell Carter Jr. I think Wendell, he's a lot bigger. He can kind of handle the bigger fives of the league. Let's say, for example, they're going against a Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, someone like that. He's been able to stand his ground pretty well. They got him signed to a pretty good contract. They also got a pretty good defender in Franz, and he's probably going to be playing the small forward position. And not only that, but he's going to be able to play the power forward and kind of play that Evan Mobley role that Mobley did for the Cavs. They've got somewhat of a similar body type. I think Mobley probably had like an extra 10-ish pounds on him. Maybe an extra 15 pounds. I still haven't heard about his weight. I don't think Chet ever let his current weight out. He doesn't want, I guess, drop in the on play teams' big boards, especially because, he's going to go top 3. So there's really no point. There's not much upside to it and a lot of downside to it.
Right.
But I saw at the beginning of his freshman year, he was 190. So I have to assume now he's somewhere between 195, 200. I think Mobley was around 210. Yeah, it's really skinny. So, but yeah, he's got great touch like Mobley did. He's got he projects as a good shooter, solid ball handler. He's been improving rapidly. Is really, I would say, his biggest weakness right now would, of course, be his size. But I would say he's actually a better shooter than Mobley was. Mobley didn't really shoot many threes, and while he, I think, hit like 4 against the Knicks in that Ricky Rubio game, I want to say I think he was only averaging like 0.5 made threes a game. So he's not much of a shooter, whereas day one Chet will be. And much like Mobley, he's going to be an elite perimeter defender for a power forward between his length and athleticism. So I think he's going to make a really big impact and on both ends. And like I said, much like a Evan Mobley.
Yeah, I'm with it, man. Chet to me, I don't like the fact that everyone keeps talking about his weight. Because, I mean, if you watch the guy play, ever since he was in high school in the Senate, he's always been elite, just like RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett's always been at the top of his class. Chet has always been at the top of his class, no matter who they threw at him. No matter what level, he always succeeded and stuff. So I mean, like, going into the NBA, I'm looking at him as like a Kevin McHale to me, man. I'm just like, I'm getting like modern Kevin McHale vibes from him. Just for the simple fact that when McHale came in, he was skinny as well. He couldn't jump. He got these big doofy long arms and stuff. But he eventually became like a 28 point a game scorer coming off the bench. So I think like Chet is going to be on that trajectory, getting to that point. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I can see that. I think at least when it comes to the Magic, he's definitely going to start. He's not going to be coming off the bench for them,
Right.
Especially just because, they need a superstar type guy. And Chet, if he can put on, like I said, 15, 20, maybe 25 pounds of muscle throughout his career, he can kind of be that. I could also see another good comparison for him being if KP never got injured. KP, I want to say he came out at about 208 pounds, and Chet's around 200. He's probably like 8 pounds heavier, but at the same time, KP, I believe he's 7'3" when he came out of the draft, whereas Chet's 7'1". So BMI wise, I think they're pretty close. So I think that's probably the two best comparisons right now is an Evan Mobley and a Kristaps, but a healthy Kristaps, since knock on wood, of course, Chet hasn't dealt with any real injuries yet.
Right.
So I would probably say those two would be my go-to comps. But I do like the one that you had. I just think it's going to be a different role just because he played on such a great team, whereas the Magic, it's the Orlando Magic.
Yeah. Well, Chet's bag is so big, man. Compared to the rest of the guys, he has so many different moves. He can go outside. He has he can finish with both hands. He can spin both ways. He can score so many different ways, and just like no matter what the defense gives him, they try to be physical with him, and he's able to always like not overpower, but just like over manipulate or just like he's just so crafty as a young player. So I can imagine him like in another 5 years how far he's going to get.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of it is he uses his length. And like I said earlier, he's got a very good understanding of angles. Like he'll quickly read like, all right, this guy's left foot is leading. He's a righty. Let me burst to the right of him and, get by him pretty quick since he's leading with his left foot right now. Or he'll see he's in the post right now. See the guy's trying to make him go left. He's pretty ambidextrous when it comes to at the rim. So he'll try to finish with his left. So you can be, opposite hand, whatnot. So yeah, he's a very skilled guy for a 7-footer. I mean, if this guy was extra, let's say 20 pounds if he had an extra 20 pounds of muscle, I mean, he could be going over like Cade, Mobley in that last draft. He's that skilled. That's really the biggest question mark for him is he going to be able to put on muscle? And if that answer is yes, he's going to be an all-star. There's no doubt about that in my mind, especially next to a guy like Wendell Carter Jr. or Mo Bamba as well, who can, kind of defensively cover up for his lack of size.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Wendell Carter Jr. He's basically now he's a seasoned veteran, so he could protect Chet in that way. So they'll be able to do that. So
Mhm.
I think I agree with you with the pick for Chet to Orlando, but I still like Banchero though. Because
Yeah,
just for the
fair
simple
enough.
fact of the whole Walt Disney shit, I feel like they probably could like advertise him a little bit better, just from the wow factor, his athleticism, that type of thing, to put people in the seats. But skill wise, I think Chet's the guy, to go.
Yeah,
So
I
I
would
agree.
say Banchero's got definitely the higher floor. I think Chet's got the higher ceiling. So it depends what you want. If you want a guy
Yeah.
like Paolo, who is probably going to be like 3-4 time All-Star, but never make like an All NBA or defense, all defense team, then yeah, you can take him. He's going to be a very, very good player. Give you around 25 a game. Probably play like slightly below average to average defense. He'll be a very, very good player. I'm trying to think of a comp for Paulo. Maybe like a 90% Carmelo Anthony kind of guy. That's
Yeah.
probably kind of the guy that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Carmelo Anthony does be eating his Wheaties, man, because
Yeah.
Banchero's he's pretty strong, man.
Yeah. Chubb, oh, yeah. He's a big boy. He's like 250 pounds already. And, that's him at 19. So, yeah,
Yeah.
he's going to be huge. He's going to be a big boy.
Yeah, definitely, man. So I mean, this is a Knicks podcast, man. So I just wanted you to get your stuff up because I know you can talk, and you let everyone know your enthusiasm about the draft. So like I said, I'm looking at you as a draft expert. So like I would love for people to look for your information, your page, and everything that you put up. You're putting up great graphics and stuff like that. So people need to really see the hard work that you're putting in with this draft stuff.
Hey, I appreciate it a lot, man. If you could do that for me, I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely, man. So, I mean, let's talk about the Knicks, man. Right now, you're at 11 now. You just posted that a little bit earlier today. So you posted Johnny Davis as this is really like the big board thing.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about Johnny Davis because a lot of people seem to be talking about him when it comes to the Knicks.
Yeah. So Johnny Davis. Johnny, and to me, I think has the deepest mid-range bag in the entire draft. He's a great isolation creator. Not only that, but he was on a team where, he was on a team where it was ranked top 25, but a lot of that is because Johnny drew so much attention away from his team defensively that it just made him and his team look a lot. Or I'm sorry, not him. It made his team look a lot better than they really are because the other guys were always wide open because he's constantly getting doubled and dealing with drop coverage or triple teams when he's hot. I mean, that guy really carried that team. He's a very good defender, especially for the workload he had to deal with offensively. Usually guys, especially in the draft, if they're the number one go-to guy and they're dealing with double teams and triple teams, they're not giving you much defensively. But when it comes to Johnny Davis, he gives you his all defensively. And you can tell at the end of every single game, he looks like he's dead, like he's ready to just fall asleep right on the court. So he gives his all. I like that about him. So like I said, probably is the deepest mid-range bag in the draft. He could be an even better fit in the NBA than college teams if the team that drafts him has a good playmaking point guard to put next to him. And another player on the team that's a better scorer than him. So he's not the one being game planned around and attracting so much attention. He's getting more easy shots. He's very active off ball, always trying to find a way to get open. While he wasn't shooting a lot of threes or particularly well from three, his mid-range game, free throw percentage, and soft touch around the rim, I would say points to him eventually being a very good three-point shooter down the line. He's got some good deceleration ability, which I think is very undervalued in the draft process. You look at guys like James Harden and the best shooting guards in the game, Devin Booker, all of them have elite, Luka Doncic as well, have elite deceleration ability. I see a lot of people saying that, for example, Luka Doncic, he's not the most athletic of guys, but if you watch him, he's very quick at stopping. He can stop on a dime. I mean, he's not the quickest. He doesn't have the highest of verticals, but I mean, this guy can go from, full speed to nothing in a quarter of a second. So I think I kind of see a little bit of that in Johnny Davis, not Luka Doncic, but I see the deceleration ability that you see in a lot of stars in Johnny Davis. And the Knicks, we really, in my opinion, I hear a lot of people say we need a point guard, we need a shooting guard, small forward, head coach. I think the thing that we need the most is superstar talent, me personally. I think that's our biggest need over point guard, over head coach, over anything. We need that guy. We need somebody who can be a Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. And I still think RJ can be a Jaylen Brown, but you obviously can't just have a Jaylen Brown and that's it. You also need another guy next to him. You need your Jason Tatum. You need your Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, ex-player next to him so that he's not getting all the attention, so that other guys are making the teams better. so that, other teams, opposing teams don't know who you're going to in the clutch or in late shot clock situations. So I think Johnny has a pretty high ceiling. He's a very good creator, plays very hard on defense. The only thing that kind of worries me about him is he's not the most athletic outside of his deceleration ability. He's got a pretty low shot IQ. Like I said, his 3-point percentage, not the greatest, especially for a shooting guard that's coming out as a non-freshman. Needs to improve as a playmaker. I would say isn't necessarily elite in one area of his game. Isn't the most fundamentally sound defender, and defensive IQ can also be questionable at times. And if you're looking for him to be your franchise savior, who can carry your team to wins all by himself, or who can carry a team when defense tightens up and in playoff situations, clutch situations, whatnot, and you're looking for him to consistently bail you out like a Devin Booker would, you're probably mistaken. I think he can be a very good third option, kind of like the shooting guard version of a Drew Holiday, but probably a little worse defensively. And, this is probably the biggest thing that scares me when it comes to Johnny Davis, and the biggest reason I'm put him at 11. He had more turnovers than assists last season and finished with a just 46.4% efficiency field goal percentage in college. So stats-wise, he wasn't the greatest. I try not to put too much into stats in general, especially because I love watching full games. I think intangibles are very important. For example, you look at RJ's stats and Randall's stats, they're not that different. Some can argue Randall had the better stats, but if you watch the games, RJ was the more impactful player.
Right.
So, yeah, I would say it's kind of like that, where stats don't tell the full story, but of course his stats, especially in college, being that poor when it comes to assist turnover ratio and when it comes to efficiency is definitely a little worrying, even though, like I said, he did get a lot of attention.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I agree. I enjoy listening to you talk about basketball, man. You seem to have a lot of knowledge in that head, and you're just trying to get it all out of there, man. But I agree with you. Definitely with the change of speed with Johnny Davis, I definitely see that in him. What sticks out to me too is his rebounding. So I mean, I don't have his rebounding numbers, so I don't know if it's like mostly offensive or defensive or what kind of, like how was his rebounding impact? Because I see 8, and that's pretty high for a guard.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a good rebounder, and he's that's another thing I forgot to mention, actually. He's pretty strong, and that's something I think scouts also tend to underrate in the draft process is strength. I know technically speaking, you're not supposed to have contact in basketball, but as a foul, everybody knows that's not the case. Majority of contact is not getting called. In fact, I would say all the way up to 90% of contact, since most of it is going to be quote-unquote marginal, is not going to be called. So you need strength in the NBA if you want to be able to finish, if you want to be able to create space, if you want to be able to rebound, box out, just do a bunch of things. You need strength. He's a strong shooting guard, and I like that a lot for him, and that definitely helps him out on the when it comes to rebounding. And he's also got very good anticipation skills, as you can see with his rebounding. He seems to have a pretty good idea of where the guy he's boxing out is at all times. So, yeah, I really like his rebounding. And not only that, but I've found that guards who are good rebounders tend to succeed in the NBA. I don't know if it's a motor thing or what it is, but guards that are good rebounders, they seem to hit a lot. So, yeah, I think whoever gets them, they're going to be pleasantly surprised with what they get out of him.
Yeah, rebounding to me, especially at the college level, it just shows that you're paying attention. A lot of the college guys, they really focused on, some of them are not focused on the right thing, but if you have a guard that's getting this rebounding well, that he's like watching what's happening in the game. So I was just about to get State in here, but he just popped off again. I just want to say what's up to the chat. We got a few people of regulars. We got Geraldine here, Pudge, Cully's here. Shout out to Andy. Got Worldwide L. Salute to you guys. Missing anybody? Yeah, salute to everybody that's listening, man. So we got stupid videos here, man. He's giving us his draft analysis, based off of things that he's been posting on Twitter, man. So I just, this podcast is really about him. They really like to get his thoughts and stuff out. So everyone that pops in on this video can see his knowledge of the game and stuff. So I mean, who do you think the Knicks should pick? I know you got Johnny Davis at number 11, but what player do you think the Knicks should really try to get?
Personally, I think it's pretty easy. I think it's Jaden Ivey if you don't have to give up too much. I mean, I'm of the mindset this guy, he's in my perennial all-star tier. I think he's going to be an amazing player. And not only that, but he was all right on defense in his sophomore year. But he's got all the makings to be a plus defender in the NBA. If you watch him as a freshman, he was a very good defender as a freshman. He was definitely a plus defender as a freshman. And I think a lot of his defensive woes may have came from a couple of things. It could have been the guys around him. Not only that, but he had pretty poor spacing there. So he definitely wasted a lot more energy than he should have when it came to trying to finish, getting a lane, things of that nature. So I think that could also be part of it. And of course, he was their primary ball handler. So yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be a plus defender. I think if you looked at his shooting percentages, he looked like he had a pretty good shot. He shot close to 40%, and he's just electric in the open floor. He's not even the open floor in half court. I mean, he can get to the rim at will, man, and he's strong. He knows how to use his speed. He doesn't. There are some guys who have the speed, but they just play with the speed all the time. He knows when to use it, when to shut it off, kind of trick the defender and manipulate the pick and roll, manipulate the defense. He's gonna be a stud, man. I mean, for him, he's one guy that I think may have the least weaknesses in the draft if he puts it all together. He's, like I said, the defense last year, but at the same time, I mean, he's got the body and everything else you really want for someone to be a plus defender. He would fit well with us. I think he'd fit perfectly next to RJ, who's not the most athletic of guys, but of course, Jaden Ivey, he is like in that top 1-2 percentile of athletes in the NBA from day one, especially for a guy with his ball handling ability. I mean, it's just crazy how athletic he is, for how skilled he is and how strong he is. So he's going to be a stud. I think he's going to be like a 24-5-5 kind of guy. I think he's going to be pretty efficient. I think he's going to shoot close to 50% from the field, around 35% from three, around 80% from the line for his career. I shouldn't say for his career, but for like his prime, maybe a little before that, like from like 23 to 33. I think that's probably going to be his averages. So yeah, he's going to be a stud. I think he's definitely a needle mover. And if we could get him without giving up RJ, I'm doing it in a heartbeat. I would say the most I would offer right now would probably be the 2023 pick next year, top 5 protected, Randall, the 11th pick, and Grimes, and one of McBride or Rokas. I'd be willing to give up all that for Ivey if I have to. And that 2023 draft is stacked. But I mean, this guy, he's just as good as Chet, Paolo, and Jabari, in my opinion. I got him in the same tier. He's going to be a stud. No doubt about it.
So, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying, man. But what if Orlando gets stupid and say, hey, I want to get Jaden Ivey instead of Chet? You think that's possible at all?
To be honest, do I think it's possible? Yes. Do I think it's likely? 95 to 98% no.
Right. But I mean, listen, the Kings, they suck. They do have Swiper over there. They got Davion Mitchell and things of that nature. They could go that route too. They could be like they could believe everyone could see Jaden Ivey. They know his family. His mom is incredible. His dad has the physical pedigree as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, he just a guy that was born to play basketball. So everyone knows this, man. So Sacramento sees it as well. So even though you're giving this massive package from the Knicks, to Sacramento might be like, listen, that package might be nice or whatever, but I think keeping this kid is probably like the best option. Can you see the Kings keeping him?
Ivey?
Yes.
I would say right now it's fit. Here's the thing. I would say it's probably 70-30 they keep the draft pick. Maybe, actually, I would say 65-35 they keep the draft pick. I would say it's probably, I don't know, probably like a 40% chance they take Ivey. But I heard they're really high on Keegan Murray, who I'm not necessarily the highest on. I would say he's a tier below Ivey for sure. And there's a pretty big gap there. So personally, I know that they already have Davion, they already have Fox, but I think there's a big leap between him and Davion, and I think Davion can, back you up the point guard and shooting guard spot, so you get a good amount of minutes off him, or for him off the bench, give him like 28 minutes if you back up both Fox and Ivey. And not only that, but I think nobody's going to be able to keep up with both Fox and Ivey. You're going to have the most athletic guy on one of them, and nobody's going to have enough speed in their backcourt to keep up with both. So if I'm the Kings, I'm taking them, but it's the Kings, man. They, for some reason, also I've seen that they think Sabonis is a center, and they're looking for power forward. And maybe we can talk them in and say, hey, I know you guys are looking at Keegan Murray, but 2010-5 and 2023 first-round pick and 11, come on, take it. And I think they might fall for it.
Well, listen, the fans seem to want it. This is I was gonna save this for another pod, but Chris Pearson, I can never get his last name, man. But he's on Twitter, whatever. He's from Knicks Film School. This is something that he screenshotted off of Julius Randle's page here. So this is one of his posts. I hope you can see it there. But if you look at the comments there, this is all Sacktown people. You see all the purple hearts and stuff. They actually want Julius Randle on that roster there.
Hey, I hope so, man. Because oh my God, you have no idea what I'd do for Jaden Ivey. He's going to be a major difference maker, and not only that, but you're going to have him on a rookie contract, whereas Randle's going to be making around $30 million. I mean, that's the difference between Ivey for $4 million and Randle for 30. I mean, you could argue by Ivey's second year, he's going to be a bigger impact player than Randle is. And he's only making $4 million, not 30 like Randle. So if you can make that deal somehow and make it work, I think it's a huge W for the Knicks. I think we got our two building blocks then in RJ and Ivey. Then you really only be looking for like one more guy, and depending on how much we give up, maybe fix up the bench, maybe get like another high level starter in there, and you could be looking at a contending team. I think he's going to be that much of a difference maker. He's going to be I think his ceiling is like a better defensive Donovan Mitchell with a slightly worse perimeter game. I think that's what we're talking here.
Yeah. So we got Julian Tran here. He said that whole post there is fake from Chris. It could be, but around this time of year, everything is fake, man. There's so much news, so much rumors put out there that you just have to really just go by your two eyes, or just find somebody like you that will give you like the real information, because you take the time to break all the stuff down and you love it. So I'd rather listen to somebody like you rather than listen to half these rumors that these sports writers are putting out there. So click, Knicks for clicks for that whole situation there.
Hell yeah, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So I mean, listen, man, Jaden Ivey, I think let's say if he was to make this trade, we get Jaden Ivey. What do you think about Obi Toppin as being that third guy? Because Obi Toppin, he scored 40-something points against, no competition. But they also beat Miami down the stretch too. So they were able to be successful against just in basketball. They just show that they could play. So add RJ as the second fiddle, maybe Jaden Ivey will grow into that number one, and Obi as the third option. What do you think about that? Just team building for the Knicks.
So I would say long term, I think Obi's more of like a connector. I would say he's more of a number 4 option on a championship team. That's assuming his 3-point shot comes along. But I would say this, I think he'd be a much better fit than Randle. He doesn't need the ball as much. And not only that, but Ivey, RJ, and Obi in transition. I mean, that's insane. That's Lob City right there. We might be the best transition team in the entire league, depending if Thibs lets us run. But if we can get running with that team, man, I mean, we might be averaging like pretty much a free 18 points a game off transition points just between those three guys. I mean, they're that dynamic of fast break guys. RJ's not the most athletic, but he's very creative when it comes to transition, and he's very aggressive, keeps his head up. Ivey, he's electric in the half court. He's electric in transition. He's electric pretty much anywhere. He can get to the rim at will. And Obi, he's one of the better cutters in the NBA. And then not only that, we have another guy in Cam who's pretty athletic. I think that would be fun to have those 4 guys run out there. And then, Mitch, great lob threat, or you can kind of go small, play Obi at the 5, move Cam to the 4, RJ to the 3, and then you can have, Ivey at the 2, and then IQ at the 1. And you can kind of have IQ be your 3-point shooter, put him in the corner while the rest of us run the break, maybe put RJ in another corner as well, and, help with the spacing when it comes to the fast break. Or maybe you can have IQ as the playmaker on the fast break, or Ivey. That's the nice thing about that lineup is I think Cam, RJ, IQ, and Ivey, they can all ball handle, they can all play make, they can all run it on transitions and handle the break and do whatever. They can score, they can play make, they can do whatever. So really outside Obi, he'd probably be the only one that's more of a cutter or lob threat in that lineup. And it would be really dynamic. And not only that, but I just love fast break teams. You watch, for example, the Grizzlies. I think we could kind of be a Grizzlies type team if we get an Ivey and Obi develops into a good shooter. So that makes his interior scoring and handles more dynamic. And not only that, but you have IQ coming back next season. Hopefully, we don't have to include him in the Jaden Ivey trade. I think he'd be a great fit next to Ivey and RJ because of his shooting ability. And at the end of the season, you saw, man, he was putting up 20-something point triple doubles left and right, shooting great from the field from marching on. So I think that'd be a really fun lineup to watch. And same with Cam. He was also starting to go off towards the end of the year and play really improved defense since what he was doing in Atlanta. So I think they could be a really dynamic lineup. And if all of them, take a big leap, I think we could be a top 6 seed with that team if all of them take the big leap and Ivey is like a day one stud, like a Donovan Mitchell, for example.
Yeah, I'm with it, man. Yeah, to me, it's all about tradition. I've been really harping on to the tradition and stuff the last few podcasts. Back in the '60s and in the '70s when the Knicks were winning championships and stuff like that, and even in the '90s, it was just a team-oriented basketball, ball movement. Even though the Knicks were half court and heavy with the defense and stuff, they still ball movement. It was still a lot of communication out there on the court. Forget about it. The championship years, a lot of ball movement. Everyone can shoot it. Everyone can get down the court. They were making fast breaks without even dribbling the basketball. That's the tradition of the Knicks.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, the lineup that you just described, it just shows that it's just a possibility of rekindling that whole just tradition, the tradition of the Knicks winning Knicks basketball, man.
Unselfish play.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Exactly. Not only that, but if you have unselfish play and talent, that's how you win in today's league. It's a combination of unselfish play, talent, and knowing who your go-to guys are down the stretch in the clutch. Bad possessions late in the shot clock, you go to them. But besides that, you're trying to play as a team, and you're trying to play team-oriented basketball on both ends of the floor, having good chemistry. We kind of saw that down the end of the line of the season between IQ and Obi. Or even with Cam a little bit towards the end. He, I think, put up like 17, I want to say, in one of his last games. Maybe it was his last game before Sacramento or against Golden State, something like that. So, yeah, that'd be a really fun team to watch, especially in transition. I think defensively they have a pretty high upside. I like Cam's defensive upside. I like Ivey's defensive upside. I like RJ's defensive upside. Obi, I think he can be a slightly below average defender, but if you put him next to a bunch of plus defenders, I think he can be he'll look better than he is, and he'll kind of come off as an average to above average defender, even if he isn't. And that's how you win today's NBA, man. You want to have a well-balanced team. You don't want to have too many ball hogs. You want people to know their role, excel in their role. You want spacing, but you also want to run transition. And like I said, man, chemistry on both ends is very important. So, yeah, I would love that team. Love Jaden Ivey. I think he's the guy you want to move up for. And, give up. As long as I'm not giving up RJ, I'm giving up a lot to get Ivey. A lot.
Yeah, no doubt.
What's a lot to you?
What's going on, State?
Yeah, what's going on, State? Introduce yourself, man, to Mr. Stoop.
Hey,
Mr. Stoop is dropping bars like crazy, man, over here. You're missing a lot of stuff here.
I'm listening in the background. I had to just help my coworker real quick.
I got you.
I don't want to be Julius Randle.
Well, State.
Yeah. So
when you get settled, man, pop back on, okay?
No, I'm settled.
You settled? Okay. All right, so you heard what he was saying about Jaden Ivey and stuff with the package or whatever. Is there anything that you wouldn't give up for Jaden Ivey?
No, anybody but RJ. I'll give up a lot to get Ivey. Because you're at the point where you got to make a move now. You got too many assets sitting on each other. And it reminds me, remember Danny Ainge when he had too many picks and he had Jaylen Brown? There was rumors he was going to trade for Kawhi. And he just let those picks, he just kept them and he ain't do nothing with them. And, well, it was smart, by the way, because they was in the championship this year. But at the same time, when you got too many assets like that, you can't be just sitting on that. You can't sit on it. So I feel like this is the summer where you make that move. And then just listening to Ivey talk today and then listening to him not mention anything about Indiana and then mentioning, New York, it's ways to get to New York and stuff like that. I hope Leon Rose is doing something special for his CAA client, Tired of him being wild. He's conservative. I don't know why he's so conservative. Maybe because of the Carmelo Anthony trade, because he was Carmelo Anthony's agent, and also maybe because of Andreas Bargnani. Remember, he was the reason he traded for him as well. So,
I personally think listen, I'm not a fan of what Leon's done so far. You're right. He's really, really conservative. But at the same time, there really haven't been, besides maybe like Harden, who, as we all see, it's the right decision to not have traded for him. He looks like he's kind of fallen off a cliff at this point. but there really hasn't been that guy that's asking out that you're like, all right, this is the franchise guy. And I think they're looking for a game changer. And not like that, but somebody that they can get without giving up RJ. And that I don't think that's came up yet. So I think they're hoping Donovan Mitchell asks out, and then we can kind of combine them with an Ivey and an RJ. Hopefully, God, please get us Ivey.
God,
please. He's so
God,
good. Anyway,
please.
if we can get Donovan, Ivey, and RJ, I mean, that is a dynamic front three.
Yeah.
Extremely dynamic.
That is written in stone. It's like, how do you not go get him now?
That's what I'm saying.
You gotta go. You gotta do that move.
Hey, man, tell World Wide West do something. I'm waiting. Get me Donovan Mitchell and Ivey. I will not complain. Give up the entire team but RJ. I would not complain a bit. Listen. I need those three in MSG.
You Donovan Mitchell and Ivey. Okay, we got to stop the 2K, man.
I know. I'm playing.
Because I mean, we're gonna have no roster. It's gonna be like the Miami Heat roster before they got LeBron. It's gonna be like butt naked, just them two guys.
Oh yeah, it would be barren. That'd be dry. That'd be drier than Sierra Desert, man.
Yeah. Well, listen, man. The chances of the Knicks making a trade, we gotta have to pray to all the gods. We're gonna have to pray to the Panther pantheons and the freaking Greek pantheons. We got to pray to every last god that we could think of in order for it to go our way here, man. But one guy you have pinned to your page is Malachi Branham. So this is you think this guy is gonna be the steal of the draft?
Yeah.
Would you pick him at 11 for the Knicks if we had that shot?
Yeah, I think he's going to be there around the Knicks pick. I think he's got a very complete game. If I had to compare him to somebody, I'd probably compare him to a Tyler Hero, probably a little bit better defensively. But, I mean, if you're staying at 11 and you're able to get a better defensive Tyler Hero, not a big jump between him and Tyler Hero, but he's definitely a better defender, but definitely not a plus defender either. But if you can get that at 11, I think that's a damn good pick. And not only that, but something to be very valuable in a trade. So at the moment, he's my steal of the draft. I think I have him ranked, I want to say at 8. I got him at 9 right now. So my scouting report on him gives us 100% on offense. Sneaky athlete who can lead with either foot depending on where the advantage is. He took a giant leap over the past year, showing his developmental trajectory maybe steeper than many are giving him credit for. In the last 15 games, he averaged 18, 4, and 2 on 55, 45, 84 splits in 34 minutes a game for Ohio State against some pretty damn good competition in the Big Ten. He's very patient, very crafty on ball from all three levels, especially for his age. He's got a very long wingspan. You got a 6'10 wingspan. He's 6'5", good at relocating off ball to get himself an easy and open look. Finished the season shooting 50% from the field and 42% from 3 and 83% from the line, which is damn good efficiency. Defense improved as the year went on. He has probably the second best mid-range game to only Johnny Davis in the entire draft. And not only that, but he's a natural leader from what I saw and from what I heard.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
The mid-range game, do you have those percentages on hand?
No, I don't have the percentages on hand, but I have the 2-point percentage, and it was well above 50%. And I do know that he took over 50% of his shots from the mid-range. So I have to assume his mid-range game is somewhere around 50%.
That's impressive. That means he has a shot arsenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got a bag, man. He's got a deep bag.
Because he's not really scoring all of his buckets near the basket. So that's impressive. We definitely need shot makers too. Yeah. One last question for you. What is his best quality?
For Branham?
Yeah.
Definitely his bag, man. I mean, it's deep for a kid his age. Most kids his age, look at pretty much anybody last draft outside of the top 5, 6-ish guys. Most of the guys there didn't really have much of a bag. And whereas this guy right here, I mean, he can shoot from all 3 levels. He can score from all 3 levels. He's crafty, and he's got a very deep mid-range bag, which, as we all know, the mid-range is extremely important, especially if you want to be a 20-plus point per game scorer in the NBA. You got to have a go-to move in that mid-range. So he's got that. He's got a bunch of moves in that mid-range. And not only that, but a lot of the stuff that he's doing from mid-range, I even saw him doing from the three-point line later on the season. So he's got a steep developmental trajectory. There's another thing I think scouts undervalue is developmental trajectory. And I like him a lot.
You got a pro comparison that you would compare him to?
Yeah, it would be definitely Tyler Hero, but a little better defensively if he hits his I'll say like 10 percentile outcome, I think he's a better defensive Tyler Hero.
Can you for the older Knicks fan, can you get him a comparison from a player from the 90s or the early 2000s?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I got one. What do you think about Katina Mobley?
I think he'd be a little. I think he's gonna be a little better offensively.
Katina Mobley was pretty good, man. The reason why I say Katina Mobley because Katina Mobley he never did anything outside of himself. He always went to his spots. He saw the game really well. So I think that's how I would subscribe. Describe Malachi.
I would agree with that. I think he's more aggressive though. But besides that, I think that's a fair comp. But he's definitely a more aggressive Mobley. I would agree with that.
All right, so since we're talking about Malachi, he had a partner there in Ohio State, EJ Liddell. What do you think about him?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. They got Liddell. I think what did they have him? They have him at 19. And he averaged 21 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. 2.8 blocks. I think he led the conference in blocks. So he's a good player as well. So what do you think about him?
I think he's gonna be a damn good role player on a team. I think he can kind of be probably like a PJ Tucker, a mixture of PJ Tucker and Eric Paschal, I think would probably be his go-to comparison for me. He averaged, like you said, 2.6 blocks. He's not only that, just 6'7", so it just shows how incredible his coordination and timing is on the defensive end. He's a much improved shooter, shooting 77% from the line, 37.4% from three. He's got a +5 wingspan, so he's a 7-foot wingspan. He's a versatile defender, should be able to guard 3 through 5. Good rebounder. He's got a deep bag for a power forward in the mid-range and the low post. He's improved every season at Ohio State, which shows a strong work ethic. He's got a strong lower body and core, which I really, really like, especially for defensive guys. That's kind of where I get my defensive PJ Tucker comp from. PJ Tucker is a guy, I think he's only like 6'5", 6'6", maybe 6'7" at most. But he's so strong in the lower body. He's so strong in his core that he can defend pretty much 2 through 5, no problem. And he's probably not as laterally quick as a prime PJ Tucker, but he's kind of a really good player, very good impact player, especially if I'm a contender and I'm in like the mid-20s and he's still around, I'm probably picking him. Actually, in Gmo's mock draft on the Knicks, I was on there at the 28th pick for the Warriors. It looked like they, besides Kuminga, they didn't really have any backup powered forwards. And Kuminga, I think you're trying to get a little bit bigger for Golden State, playing over at the 3. So I think that they can end up picking him over at 28. Is out of border, he's leaving. Galicia, he's leaving. So I think he'd be a great fit over there. And he's also a great screener, good motor.
Well, Stoop, you're fading a little bit, Stoop. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you. Is this any better if I move it a little closer?
Well, you're like buzzing a little bit.
Here, let me try and mute it and then unmute it. Hold on.
Try talking out. Let me see if I can.
Oh, you know what? I'm on 1%. Here, let me plug my phone in.
That's probably it. That's probably it. Yo, welcome to the lives, Mr. Stoop, man. That's how it goes there. But for those that really couldn't hear, I could hear what he was saying. He was just talking about EJ Liddell. He's a little short, 6'7", so he thinks that he can guard like basically every position, in the next level. What intrigues me about these draft picks is that I can make a assessment about every player. Like I mentioned, Drew Time, and Stoop shot him down. He's not ready to play. But a guy like that averaged 18 points a game, last year. Same thing with EJ Liddell. He's ranked lower than Malachi, but he actually was the leading scorer for Ohio State. So it's just interesting how people evaluate players based on because the draft is not always just about stats. It's about projection and what you're watching visually. What's happening on the court. How
I got the perfect thing for you. The draft it's about where you land, bro. It's not about good evening. I'm good. It's about where you land, right? When you land in the perfect spot, then you can get a homegrown player like Donovan Mitchell. Like I know we passed on Donovan Mitchell. That is an egregious move. I understand. We're gonna get criticized forever for that. But at the same time, He landed in the right spot, and that right spot was Utah. So
Where did he get drafted though? What number did he get drafted? Donovan Mitchell,
he
13.
got drafted 13. So after
Yep,
he was
13.
Denver. He
Yeah,
was
I hear
Denver.
you're really good now, Stu.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I mean that's interesting. Knicks pick 11, so we possibly could pick a Donovan Mitchell at so so far behind in the draft. So even though we all want Jaden Ivey, it's still very possible for us to get a real good impact player. And if this kid Malachi is that dude, then we possibly came up on that.
Yeah, hopefully, if we take him, hopefully. I mean, I'm still praying we can move up, get Ivy, but hey, we can get Malachi at 11. I won't be too mad.
Right. All right, so I want to start doing deep cuts now, man. So the Knicks, I think they pick what 42 in the second round. Yeah,
Yeah.
42 in the second round. So what do you think about the Knicks second round pick? Do you think
Is-
we'll get more, or what do you think, State?
Can I piggyback off of that question?
Mhm.
Is there any Dylan Brooks archetype in the second round? I think that's what I'm looking for.
Dylan Brooks archetype. So there's one
Yeah.
guy that if he falls to the second round, I'd say it's probably a 60 to 70% chance he goes before the second round, or I should say before 42. But there is, I'd say, probably about like a 30% chance he falls. And that guy to me would be Bryce McGowan's. I mean, he showed a lot of potential as an isolation scorer. He reminds me actually a lot of Dylan Brooks. He's very fluid and smooth athlete that loves contact. He's got a slender frame, but he's like I said, very smooth. So he's able to get into small spaces and hit tough shots. He's got a solid handle for a guy's size. I believe he's about 6'10". He's around the same size as RJ, but a little skinnier, not as muscular. Showed a lot of potential as a playmaker. Was put into a bad situation for a freshman, in my opinion. He was on the what was probably the worst team in the Big Ten. Strong rebounder for a wing, good athlete, solid defender, decent scoring bag. Should be a little bit more efficient in the NBA since he's not going to be the go-to guy and the guy that defenses are honing in on anymore. And since he's not going to be the guy who's forced to isolate and score for every late shot clock situation, great at drawing contact, which I love. You want to like guys who aren't afraid of contact and just in general aren't going to be afraid at the NBA level. He's got 3-level scorer upside, very long strides, especially in transition, and he can play above the rim. And yeah, I'd really like him at 42 if he falls there.
Yeah, I just had a Tankathon. Tankathon actually had him like 32, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So people think highly of that dude, man. But one thing I want to say about all these guards that there's so many of them, then they all basically like are very very close to each other, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's hard to really gauge these guys because I mean Wendell Moore. Say a guy like Wendell Moore. Wendell Moore is decent. Athletic guy. He's not a freshman. He's a junior, but he could jump out the gym. He could shoot the three and this, that, and the other too. So he's very comparable to a guy like that.
Yeah, he can also play make.
Yeah, he can play make a little bit too. Yeah, so it's interesting. You got any second round picks that you're looking at, State?
So, Dyson Daniels, can you tell us about the Arizona guard?
Oh, Dalen Terry.
Yeah.
So Dalen, he has been a late riser. He didn't average many points. He's not much of a scorer. Let me pull up his stats real quick, actually, just so I can give you guys the numbers and context as well, since he's, been a late riser. I'm sure a lot of people in the chat don't really know too much about him. So where do I got him at? Dalen Terry.
They actually have him according to NBA Draft Net, they got him at the end of the first round.
Yeah, do you got stats up there? Because I'm trying to find them on Tankathon.
Yeah, his stats. Last year he put up 8, 3.9 assists, 4.8 rebounds. Percentage wise, from the 2-point range is 57%, 36% from three, 73% from the free throw line. So he didn't really score a lot, points wise, but I mean you can see the skills and stuff there. 6'7", 195.
Yep.
So he has the prototype.
7-foot wingspan as well.
Yeah.
But here's probably the biggest thing I would say with him. He was playing for a very good team. I mean, all of the other 3 to 4 starters are guys that could have gotten drafted. He's got possibly I would say he's up there as one of the top 2 or 3 offensive scorers in the entire NCAA, and Benedict Mathurin. He's got Koloko, who's a great defender, so that gives him a little bit more energy for offense. And not only that, but he's also a sophomore. So those are kind of his cons. And his biggest con, I'd say right now, would be his points. I mean, he's averaging 8 points a game and 10 points per 36 minutes, which is obviously not very good. So he's not a very aggressive guy. And he did average 5 assists per 36. But like I said, he was on one of the better offensive teams in the entire NCAA. So that's going to be a little bit inflated. So let's say if he went to a Nebraska, for example, he's probably only averaging like 3.5 to 4 assists per 36.
Yeah.
And yeah, he kind of reminds me of, if I had to give him a comp, maybe a better Frank Ntilikina would probably be the little bit bigger, a little bit better shooting Frank Ntilikina. Probably be my go-to comp for him, which,
What do you
is
think about
definitely a
Swaggy
valuable
P?
player. But I'm sorry?
What do you think about Swaggy P?
Swaggy P, Nick Young?
Yeah, because he kind of looks like him too, about the same height.
Yeah, here's the thing though. Nick Young was very aggressive, whereas Dalen Terry is, the exact opposite. And Dalen
Right.
Terry is a better defender. And not only that, Nick Young was a much better isolation scorer, whereas this guy Dalen mostly scores off of cuts or pump fakes that lead to drives. So he's not really much of a creator, whereas Nick Young was. But like I said, he's a better defender than Nick Young, and he's also a better playmaker than Nick Young. And I believe he's a better rebounder too. He averaged about 6.3 rebounds per 36. I don't think Nick Young averaged that in college, though I could be wrong.
No.
So I would say similar build, similar athleticism, but yeah, a little bit different when it comes to the scoring and the playmaking.
What sticks out for you? Because you mentioned him, State. What do you like about this kid?
6'7".
Yep.
You just need a wing, right?
Listen, somebody, because I wasn't really focused on the draft this year, so I'm really happy that Stop Videos pulled up on us so he can give us a good explanation about a lot of these draft prospects. I was totally in on playoffs. I wasn't like the 2021 season and the 2020 season where I was really looking at it. So I'm just going off a whim. And when I seen the tweet today, I'm like, oh, 6'7" point guard. Oh, you look good in the highlights. So let me just ask Stop Videos what's up with this guy. I'm not going to sit here and act like I do know. Nah, I don't. And that's the reason why I asked Stop Videos, please come on. I know you asked him. I mean, shit, he asked himself to come on as well. So hey, man, that's why I'm shutting the fuck up when he speak, and I want to hear who the hell is these guys. So I'm glad he's on tonight. Appreciate you,
man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I'm the same way. I was more focused. Me and State, we were talking about playoffs all year. We was like focused on it. So I mean, the second year it was just it just burst our bubble because we just were not thinking about the draft. And all last offseason, we were talking about that we don't want to talk about no lottery picks for like the next few years. This is it. We're on the next level. RG's gonna be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, right.
XYZ. So yeah. So
Yeah,
now everybody, I feel like the whole fan base is trying to catch up to like who the hell these guys are.
I know, right? Nobody knew we were ever gonna like be in the lottery until like February, late January. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was weird. We went from we're going to be a top 4 seed, make it to the second round. Finally, RJ is going to take the next step to. We need Jaden Ivey and Donovan Mitchell. So it's been took a pretty sharp left there.
Yeah, stop. I remember when I said this. Me and Eru had a combo.
Mm-hmm.
It was when we went 12. We was 12 and 14 at the time. And I said to Eru, Eru, this ain't looking good. This shit thinking. Thibodeau just benched Kemba Walker, and he's starting to bum. And I don't like Alec Burks. It's nothing against Alec Burks. He's just put in the wrong role. So
I agree with that.
I gotta see, man.
Well, everyone keeps talking about point guards, right? So what do you think of there seems to be a lot of point guards in the second round. So do you have any opinion about any of these point guards? I'll throw two out: Ryan Rollins and TJ Davidson.
So
Ryan,
JD. I'm sorry. You want me to go or State?
You're the expert. Yeah,
You go, brother.
That word. Yeah. So Ryan, I would say he's more so of a combo guard. It's not really much of a point guard. In fact, I would say he's probably less of a point guard than Emmanuel Quickly is. But over at 42, I like him a lot. He's I want to say 6'4", but he's got a 6'9" and 3/4 wingspan, which I really do like a lot. He's still only 19. He's going to be turning 20 on July 3rd, though. But at the moment, he's still only 19. So he's got a very good wingspan. He's a pretty good. He's got really good touch at the rim. I noticed. He only shot 31% from the 3-point line, but it was on a pretty good amount of attempts. But his 2-point percentage was a good amount above 50%. And not only that, but his free throw attempt rate I liked. It was at around 33%. So he doesn't mind contact. He had a great assist turnover ratio for his shooting guard of a 1.62 assists for every turnover. And he also averaged 4 assists per 36, 7 rebounds per 36 as well, which is damn good for a 6'3¼ guard. And at 42, he's another guy I'd really like there. I think he's going to be a pretty good scorer off the bench for somebody. Showed a little bit of defensive upside. He's a good ball handler. I think it'd be kind of like if he hits a ceiling, a better like a smarter and better Alec Burks, I'd say.
Yeah, I like that. I like that analysis there. What do you think about JD Davison?
Yeah, JD, he's very athletic. I mean, he can get up the court in a couple seconds, but the problem is he was playing against bench players most of the year, so you can't really take his stats too seriously. You're mostly going off the tape there, and he was sitting behind some guys who a good amount, I would say probably over 30 guys in the NCAA are easily starting over. So he's a project. He's got a. I'm sorry.
No, that was an advertisement.
Oh, you're good. No, I was just saying, yeah, he's very athletic. He's an upside guy. He's a guy that if you grab him, you're probably going to have to throw him in the G League for a year or two and then bring him up. But he's got a good amount of upside. He's a guy at 42 that if you pick him, he could be a starter down the line. I can see him kind of being a Colin Sexton type of player. So, I mean, if you want to take him, take a swing, chances are he's going to be a miss. But at the same time, he's got a much higher ceiling than most guys do at 42 or possibly any guys at 42, depending on how the draft plays out. So I wouldn't mind him. Like I said, our biggest need right now is probably talent. And if you think he can be around 20-point per game scorer one day, even if there's only a slight chance, I think you take that bet. Because, I mean, do we really need more mad bench players at the moment? I think we got enough of those. So, I mean, at this point, I'm trying to swing for the fences. And that's a big reason also why I said I want to trade up for Ivey. And, I wouldn't mind him at 42 at all.
Your mouth lips the word to God, to whatever, to Allah, to the babies, to the heavens, to the Lord.
To Conchu. You got to pray to Conchu, freaking Moon Knight and shit.
Yeah, big facts. I'm with y'all.
Yo, because, oh my God, Ivey with RJ.
Oh, dude, I know. I'm watering out the mouth just thinking about it.
One of those two going to be a superstar. I don't even care which of the two. But one of them is going to pop, man.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Oh, if both of them pop, man. Oh my God.
And another low key reason why you got to do it is because you got Tibbs in the building right now, and I think I wouldn't mind a year if you're going to keep the 64-year-old idiot for another season. I wouldn't mind Ivey a season under Tibbs. I ain't gonna hold you up.
Yeah, you know what? I would agree with that only because Ivey has all the defensive potential in the world. Mm-hmm. Like as a freshman, he played very, very well defensively, but this year he kind of fell off a little bit. I think it was probably a conditioning thing, and I think if there's one thing Thibs can install into a player, it's a defensive mentality. So I would say, yeah, if we can keep Thibs for another year, really install that defensive mentality into him, that hard work ethic, because he's got everything you need to be a great player. You just need somebody to really drive home that you got to give your all, you got to work on your conditioning, and just take everything serious, and you'll be a great player. And I think if you can get him in there for just 1 year under Thibs, really just be a hard ass on him for a straight year. And after that, get a better offensive coach so he can really be the player he is. That wouldn't be a bad situation to be in. So I would agree.
Well, Tom Thibodeau's really good at setting the table, teaching guys how to be pros and stuff. But the thing about this kid, Ivey, man, I think that he's going to come into the NBA and he's going to ask Tom Thibodeau to give him more. Because anything that we think that Tom Thibodeau is going to do to this kid, I think this guy, Jaden Ivey, is going to chew it up and spit it right back at him. He's just I think he's the real deal. We keep talking about him. He is the real deal, man. It would be amazing to get this kid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. So about the point guards and stuff. Everyone keeps talking about point guard. We need to get a point guard. We need to get a point guard. But I mean, you just gave two great analysis on Ryan Rollins and JD Davison. But how much better are those guys than Deuce McBride?
I mean, here's the thing. I think we need as many swing for the fences guys as we can get at the moment. Because, like I said, that's really what we need. That's our biggest need is someone who can be an all-star. We need somebody else next to RJ who can be an all-star. You can never have enough guys with a high upside. So while they may be a little redundant next to a Miles McBride, if you can get, for example, a JD Davidson and a Miles McBride, maybe each of them have like a 10% chance of hitting, that ups it all the way to 20%. That doubles your luck. Then maybe you got a 1 in 5 chance that, an all-star level player or close to it. And I'm with that, man, because I'm tired of getting these, middle of the pack bench player guys from the draft. I'm trying to get some cornerstones in here, man.
Yeah, no doubt. So I mean, let's do some sleepers, man. So I'll play a video, but very briefly. So just tell me what you think about this guy. I hope you can see it on your screens there.
Londis Williams is a 6'5" combo with dump bounce and dimes. He's the third leading scorer in the ACC, and with the spread floor in the league, he's going to have a lot of opportunities to play above the rim. He gets a lot of his buckets off the dribble, and he's low-key crafty with it and likes to spin move like on this play.
Tilting the court downhill, gets to the bucket.
Yeah, so it's a minute video, man, but the video just gets better and better. So how does a guy like that? He's not on anybody's draft boards. I think Tankathon just put him at number 60. So I mean, how does a guy like that don't even get talked about up until like a day before the draft?
Yeah, so that was Aldonis Williams. He's a 6'5" guard. He went to Wake Forest, born in 1999, so he's a little older. But to be honest with you, it would probably be a couple things. Number one, of course, the age. He's not the quickest of guards. So that's probably a big hit that he's taking. Slow senior guards, those guys kind of don't tend to translate. But at the same exact time, he's got a very high IQ, very good finisher, was very efficient from all three levels. He's very creative, I would say, very fluid and agile. He's got great feet, great court vision. That's probably the biggest plus for him. I think he's going to be a very, very good backup, personally. He can kind of be like a poor man's, who would I compare? Like a slower poor man's Darren Williams would probably be my go-to. He can rebound. But I will say this about him. While he is not athletic at all, kind of like a Johnny Davis, he has a pretty good stop and start ability. And not only that, but he's got some hops. He can dunk. He can definitely dunk. So, he's very sneaky, very crafty, very good playmaker. I think he's going to be a high-level backup point guard. And I would agree. I think he's extremely underrated. I got him in, I want to say, my lower 30s, maybe late 20s at the moment on my big board. So, yeah, man, if we picked him up at 42, I wouldn't be mad, especially if, we're moving some of our young guys for a Jaden Ivey.
Is there real quick, Eru, is there any bigs in the second round that fit the archetype of Brooke Lopez, Mo Bamba, one of those guys who could protect the rim?
Stretch five.
Yeah.
When it comes to stretch fives, let me see here. I don't think there, or at least when it comes to the second round, I'm trying to look around here. Yeah, there's really not. You know what? I do have one guy. There's one guy that I really like and think he could actually be a stretch five, and that would be Orlando Robinson. And he is out of, I believe it was, what's it called again? Oh, crap. Fresno State, place where Paul George went. So when it comes to Orlando, he's a big dude. Problem is, he's 21, going to be 22 on July 10th. He was born in 2000. And he's also a little bit on the slower side, but he's extremely skilled. Solid shooter for a big man. He's got, of course, like I said, stretch big potential. Decent scorer off the dribble. Excels at scoring on off-ball motion plays. Decent playmaker. Good rebounder. Adequate defender. I would say he's not fast, but he's also sneaky athletic, kind of like an Aldonis Williams, where he knows when and how to use his speed. And, of course, he can dunk. Like I said, he's a 7-footer. So he'd probably be, if you're trying to get a stretch big in the second round, I'd probably go with him. I think he's 6'11", 240. So he's a pretty big dude. He's extremely skilled, man. He reminds me, if I had to compare him to somebody, a very, 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 very light Nikola Jokic without the playmaking or without the elite playmaking. He's a plus playmaker for a big, but nobody's beyond Nikola Jokic. So, yeah, an extremely very, 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 very light Jokic.
Jokic is
how does a guy like that? the way you
Well,
described him, how does he go like in the second round? And and then basically at the end of the second round is what a lot of these guys are talking about. So how does somebody compared to an all NBA All-Star get thrown into the bottom of the second round?
I mean, like I said, he's the lightest of the, like, how could I put this? Like, he's kind of, his defense, first off, it's trash. And the thing about Jokic, he is so elite offensively that his, defense doesn't really matter. His defense isn't as bad as an Orlando Robinson's. I would say he's probably a good amount below average, but it's not, just total complete trash. He's complete zero on defense. He's got good defensive IQ and timing and such when it comes to Jokic. But Jokic, I mean, he's probably the best offensive center in the entire NBA. Whereas this guy, his defense is trash and his offense is above average. I mean, it's nowhere even close to a Jokic. I'm just saying from the way that he plays, when you watch him, he plays in the post a lot. He can shoot, and he can make some step backs in the mid-range. And you can, like I said, he's a 3-level scorer for a big. But his defense is just so awful, and I don't think his offense is going to be elite enough that he'll be able to make up for how bad his defense is.
Okay. Well, I put this up here because this is Alondes Williams' teammate. And, Tankadon has him in the first round. Draft.net has him in the second round. But he's ranked higher than Alondes. But Alondes was actually the leading scorer and this, that, and the other for that Wake Forest team. No, actually, he was the leading scorer. He was like 20-something points a game. But they're on the same team and stuff. So how does somebody like Jake, get the nod, but somebody like Alondes doesn't even get mentioned at all in this whole pack of 60? Because I mean, like visually, I look at Alondes and I like the dude a lot.
So I would say when it comes to Jake, I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying because Alondes Williams, when I look at him, aside from the dunks and stuff like that, because he can really get up, but I like the way that he handles the ball. I like the way that he passes. I happen to think he's a good player. So it's just really like weird to see, how this talent gets ranked, in these draft boards and stuff.
Listen, man, when it comes to the second round, it's not hit or miss. It's miss, hit, miss, etc. So these things in the second round, it's ugly, man. I mean, you're looking at a 1 in 10 chance of hitting, if that. So it's just so convoluted the way that people draft second round prospects. A lot of them draft them on floor, but I think the more important thing is to kind of draft on potential when it comes to these guys, because most second round guys aren't hitting for the most part if they're staying at where they're at. So I think your best case scenario if you're going in the second round is either draft somebody who should have been a first rounder, but he fell to the second round, or you're drafting somebody with a high ceiling that that one day can be a starter or close to that. And then if he hits only like his, slightly above average outcome, he ends up being a bench player. And that's, you can take that if you're drafting him in the second round. So that's kind of my philosophy. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I got a question. Keep going, but I got a question for both of you to answer. And it's on like second round picks.
Mm-hmm. No, you're good. I'm done.
So my question is, what is the infrastructure, meaning the guys we don't see every day, is the reason why second round picks boom or bust? Are they the key factor into a second round pick becoming a star? Like, for example, who was the guy, if you do have knowledge of this, that would be great, but who was the guy in Denver who Jokic was with every day? Because it got to be somebody who was like with him on a day-to-day basis.
Bones Highland, maybe? I don't know. I wouldn't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, sometimes like great players, they're just great. Because I mean the dude he came from Europe and stuff, so he was already polished. He was already playing pro over there. So guys just have the extra thing about them. That they carry over, and they're able to be a little bit more successful. Like I said, like a guy like Jaden Ivey, he's just born to be, to accept, his place in the basketball realm. So I think a guy like Jokic, I think that's like the same thing. He just was like born to be in that spot. He was bred to be there.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I mean, Jokic, he came and you could see from day one, this kid's got a lot of potential, and his IQ for a center was elite also from day one. You saw a lot of flashes there. So, I mean, it's just so hard to grade European prospects, especially a guy like Jokic, just because when you see him, he's not athletic, And not only that, but over in Europe, he wasn't really a primary ball handler, so you couldn't really tell how good of a playmaker he was. You just saw he showed a lot of flashes, but you didn't know because he wasn't the primary ball handler. He wasn't always in rhythm. That he was going to be, of course, this. There's a reason he went in the second round. And, of course, in hindsight, you should have gone first round, probably number 1 overall. I don't have the draft in front of me, but I'd have to assume he probably would have gone number 1 overall in that draft. But, yeah, it's just so hard. They're so boom or bust when it comes to European prospects. And he just happened to be a boom, man. I mean, he was a weird prospect, a center who's not very quick, not very athletic. And he wasn't really a primary ball handler like a Luka. So you can be like, all right, he's not too athletic, but he's got this, and this that are so elite that he's going to end up translating. Or, he carried a team over in the EuroLeague and won the championship and MVP at 17 like Luka. So it's a lot harder to grade guys like that. And that's how most European prospects are. Most of them, they're not Luka. They're not averaging like 18, 8 and 8 at 17 and winning MVPs and finals MVPs. So, yeah, I mean, it's just rough, man. So when you see archetypes for centers that are being drafted high, it's mostly athletic guys who are great defenders that have a lot of potential on offense. And that doesn't really fit Jokic's archetype. So I think that's why he fell. But at the same time, man, there's going to be guys like that in every other draft. There's going to be, I would say about every other draft, there's going to be a stud that's taken in the second round. And hey, who knows? It could end up being the guy we pick, hopefully.
Right. Knicks fans are very hard on our team too. That if somebody's missed, they say, "Oh, we missed this guy, and we get really stressed about it.
Mm-hmm.
But like a guy like Jokic, how many teams passed him? He went all the way to the second round, so everybody was looking through the same glasses. That's why he was in the league. He fell so far.
That's a fact. Yeah.
One thing that you have to really look at on prospects also is they say like a guy like this guy Jaden Ivey, he's the one. But I mean, look at the family that he come from. If you talk to his mom and look at their relationship and stuff like that, you see that this guy is just on a different level. Look at Emmanuel quickly, his religious background and the relationship that he has with his family. Yep. RJ, the relationship with his family. Quentin Grimes, the relationship with his family.
Obi.
I mean, Obi too, incredible. With his dad, him and his dad and his sons are always together.
Yeah.
So that's the foundation, a piece that's very important when you're looking at when you're trying to build a club and you're trying to put a certain kind of person together. So we definitely have to look into that as with these draft picks as well.
Yeah, background is huge, man. I mean, that's a big reason that GMs, they work out and interview so many guys. These guys truly are, because I mean, a lot, like you said, a lot of the guys between probably 13 to 14 all the way to like 30, the gap is pretty small there. So the thing that's going to separate a lot of them is going to be, what's up here, what's in your head, what are the people around you like, how are the people around you pushing you, are they pushing you in the right ways, the wrong ways, who are your trainers, how, what's their reputation and things like that. And that can be the big difference between somebody who, went 18 and became an all-star and a guy who went in 11 and now he's at the league in 4 years, So that's huge. And that's the thing that kind of, sucks when you're what I like to call a couch scout like me, where you're just, sitting at home, just kind of doing it as a hobby. But if you got actual intel, that's huge, man. That can affect big boards a lot. That's the reason that a lot of NBA drafts, there's some guys who end up going way higher than they should have. In fact, Donovan Mitchell, for example, he was a guy that on most mock drafts we're going probably somewhere between like 17 and 20. And, now everybody knows this guy should have went freaking top 3, if not top 2. So, I mean, and that's another thing about Donovan. I mean, he's a high character guy. I don't know if you watch his interviews. Not only that, he's close with his dad as well. So, yeah, that's definitely a big thing is people around him and his headspace. And that's a big determining factor in what kind of player they're going to be, especially long term.
Yeah, charisma is one thing too. Just how guys, when they enter the room, how they interact with everybody in the room and stuff like that. Eye contact, just presence. Like a guy like Donovan Mitchell, if he comes into the room, he's going to engage with everybody in the room. I watched him, take batting practice with the Mets, and I feel like everyone else are baseball players. He's the only one that's not a baseball player, but everyone had their eyes on him because he's just that guy. He has that thing about him that everyone gravitates to. Everyone is whispering, talking about him, so these little things when these guys get into the room, you really have to watch those interactions and see if you can guess, because it's a crapshoot regardless of whatever we say. It's so lucky to try to get
it's all projections, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And I actually think I said this on the last podcast I was with you guys, but there was a study done. It was on NBA All-Stars, and they found that the average IQ, and I'm not talking basketball IQ, I'm talking about actual IQ. they were much higher. I think they were like 10 points higher than the average NBA player. They were like had like a 112, 113 average IQ. And not only that, but they're also very charismatic, very confident in themselves and their game. So yeah, if you're picking a guy and he gives off a lot of those vibes, there's a good chance that he's either going to pop, or if you give him a little bit of time, he's either going to pop from day one, or if you give him a little bit of time, he's going to develop into somebody who pops. So that's definitely a big determining factor. And you could argue that's as big a determining factor as anyone or anything.
Right. Yeah. And if they don't necessarily pop per se, they still will contribute to winning.
Yep.
You know, they'll be a part of, they might not be that all-star, but they'll definitely be a champion at some point in their career, because they're just that smart, and they just get it. You know, they you know, the whole thing.
Yep. Draymond Green.
Yeah, Draymond Green is one of those. Yeah, a guy like Amon Shumpert too. He came in the league. You know, if you watch his off the court videos and stuff like that, he's extremely intelligent, man.
You've seen his storytelling.
Yeah, he's an incredible storyteller.
Amazing, man. I love watching his interviews, especially like he's talking about like LeBron making a pass, and it sounds like it's like the greatest play of all time, but in reality, he's just talking about LeBron, you know, faking somebody out and then passing the ball to him. But he's making it sound like, oh, he made this guy with his left eye shift to the left, and the guy with his right eye shift to the right, and then like the coach saw that he did that, and he called out this defensive play, and he saw it ahead of time, so he ended up passing it to the guy that the defense, like he was super in depth with it, and he's incredibly smart. I can't even, you know, story tell the way he can. So yeah, he's definitely very smart. He's another guy, I think, that if he never got hurt, man, he could have been maybe not a stud, but I mean maybe not an all-star, but he would have been a stud, man. I mean, he would have been, I think he could have been like a 25-5 guy had he stayed healthy, that plays really good defense. That's somebody that you would love on a championship team. Just sucks that when he got injured, man, that athleticism really got zapped from him, because he had that elite athleticism, and you could see his developmental trajectory was on the way up, especially during his first season. He looked really, really, really nice. You could see the potential. His handles were getting tighter. And then after that injury, I mean, he had to get back a shot at first. The athleticism, you could tell he wasn't used to playing without it. And yeah, man, he could have been nice if he never got hurt. That really sucks.
Yeah. He has severe cramping too. He always suffers from cramping. He used to get IVs, and during the game, he used to get IVs, and after the game, he used to get IVs, because the cramping was so bad. So when you cramp like that, that tends to pull on your tendons and stuff like that. So that's why he tore his ACL, you know, the ligaments and things of that nature. He always had problems with that, you know.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to just I want to mention a couple of names too, because I mean these are names that everyone talks about too, like the foreigner guys, like Kai Soto. You know, you got the Nikola Jovic. Yes. And then you also have Ousmane Deng too. So what do you think about some of those guys?
Yeah. So I'll start with the guy that I have first out of those names. That would be Nikola Jovic. I believe I have him over at 16 at the moment. He is a 6'10". He's kind of a power forward, but he plays a lot like a guard. Very good playmaker, streaky shooter, but at the same time, he's got a lot of shooting upside. I like the form. I like his mentality. He plays hard, plays with a, what do you call it? What's it called on your shoulder? A chip on your shoulder, plays with a chip on his shoulder. I mean, he's a tough kid, man. And he's a great pick and roll ball handler. He's great at driving kicks. He gets after it on the boards. He's got a great floater game, can hit shots from well beyond the 3-point line off the dribble, which I really, really like. I mean, if you look at the NBA, all the top guys pretty much that are, in the top 20 can hit off the dribble threes from beyond the 3-point line. So that's huge. And he's got a lot of upside because of that. And like I said, he's streaky, but he can also get hot quickly. He's very confident in his game. He's very aggressive for an 18-year-old playing over in a European system. And not only that,
he has crazy in his eye, man. When I look at Joker, yeah. I see a crazy white guy.
Yep.
Crazy European guy.
You can see it. Yeah, he gets pissed quickly, and he gets in the zone, man. Like, he looks like he's about to murder somebody when you see him play if he gets hot. And not only that, but he's actually coming from, ironically, the same team as Nikola Jokic did. So he's coming from a team that has shown they can develop high-level NBA talent too, which I like. And he's a great playmaker, very fluid for a 6'10" guy, and can run the fast break as a ball handler, scorer, or playmaker. So yeah, I wouldn't mind him. When it comes to Ousmane Deng, however it's pronounced at the moment, he's definitely a guy that you're going to pick for the upside because he's got elite measurables. He's got pretty good on ball skills defensively. If he can put on muscle, improve his jumper, tighten his handles, and finish or drive at force, he could definitely be a top 3 option on a championship team one day. And this is a guy that you could be picking in the 20s. He's improved vastly from the beginning of the NBL season. And not only that, but I believe he's coming from France, which I know a lot of Knicks fans, French guys, may not want to have him on the team anymore. But at the same time, if you look at how he was playing at the beginning of the season to how he was playing at the end of the season, there is a huge difference. Like, at the beginning of the season, he was putting up like 2-1-1 on like 24% shooting and like 10% from 3. And then the second half, he was averaging like 12, 4, and 4, and shooting like 56% from the field and like 35% from 3, like 75% from the line. And he's 6'10". He's much like Jovic, pretty big dude lengthwise, but he's a lot more athletic than a Jovic is. He's extremely quick laterally. He's a better defender than Jovic. He's just a lot more raw offensively. But yeah, he's also showed some potential as a pick and roll ball handler. I've seen a lot of people say that he's like this year's Giannis, which obviously I don't see, or anything close to that. I don't see anybody even close to Giannis in this draft. But he's kind of like that high upside, but low floor kind of guy in this draft. And when it comes to Kai, I'm going to be honest, man, I don't see an NBA player.
Really?
That's just me.
Kai Soto?
I don't see it, man. He's too slow. He's not skilled enough offensively to make up for how slow he is defensively. That's just my personal opinion. Just like I said, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
I could always be wrong, but in my opinion, man, I don't even have him in my top 60, so I don't even have a scouting report on him that I can go off of. So yeah, man, I don't see it with Kai. I'm sorry.
I get it with Kai. He's definitely slow defensively. If you watch any team versus him where he's the center and somebody's attacking him, he's always like a step slow getting to the spot. But some of these things that he does offensively is pretty good. But at the same time, what's the dude that the Knicks used to have? His name was Luke.
Luke Cornett.
Yeah, Luke Cornett. He kind of reminds me of Luke Cornett a little bit.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. I can see that a little bit.
Just the reason why I say it's just that Luke Cornett, he looks like a player, but then again, when you see him play, he's like, okay, he's not as good as I thought he was.
I'm sorry, he was terrible, my dad. He was awful. I'm sorry, he was garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, so I get that definitely, man. What's up, State? Yeah, mute him. What's up, State?
I'm listening to this guy. I'm being quiet. I'm trying to.
Yeah, State is moving around up in the hospital, man. So the reception sometimes not as good.
Think about what is your long-term vision for RJ? You see him as a shooting guard or a small forward?
Personally, I think if we give him a couple more years, we can develop him into a small forward. I think his best position at the moment is shooting guard, but I think if we played him another, let's say, 2 years at the small forward position, I think he can develop better as a small forward if you leave him there. I'm sorry, not better, but I think he could possibly develop just as well as he would at the shooting guard position at the small forward position, because he's pretty much played shooting guard or point guard his entire life, even in high school. So this is a guy that's used to just bullying smaller guards and getting to the rim at will and finishing over them at will. So at the moment, I would say, yeah, he's probably better off at shooting guard, but give him 2 more years at the small forward position. I think he's going to get a little more crafty. Small forwards are a little bit slower, so they're a little bit more his speed. So he might be able to figure out how to get a little more crafty with his handles and be able to just blow by him or, deceive him some way. So, I think you can succeed at either. But if I had a choice, I'd probably say shooting guard in the perfect world.
Well, if we get in Jaden Ivey, then he got to slide over, man. He's going to have to take that 3 spot because Jaden Ivey's going to take one of those guard spots.
Hey, man, if we're getting Jaden Ivey, I don't even care. Play him at power forward. Just give me Jaden Ivey, damn it. I want him so bad. You guys have no idea.
Yeah, no doubt.
The perfect fit.
He's a perfect fit for us, man. Definitely, just from the fan base. We're longing for that guy. And I think he is definitely going to be that guy.
He's so electric.
Yeah, man. Because when you're talking about like shooting guards, we was talking about this in the last episode. There's not really a lot of shooting guards in the NBA. There's not really there's not 30 good shooting guards. I mean, it might not even be 20, might not even be 15 really. In the NBA. So that like the next guy. the next echelon of players, the next generation, they're coming in the league now. He's going to be that guy.
Oh yeah, and not only that, but how many two-way shooting guards are there?
Right.
I mean, are there really any at the moment? How many good two-way shooting guards are in the league that are elite both ways?
One, no, Jalen Brown, and I think that's the list.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
That's
So
it.
I mean, if you put this guy at shooting guard, he should dominate. There's no reason. I mean, who's going to stop him? Bradley Beal, Zach LaVine?
Oh,
None of these guys are good enough defensively to stop him, especially because they're putting out so much on offense. So I mean, yeah, if we can get Jaden Ivey, and not only that, but like, when has MSG ever had a guy as electric as Jaden Ivey? I can't even remember. That's as skilled and electric.
Back on Marbury.
Yeah, right. I mean, MSG would go crazy for him. He would pump up the crowd, pump up the team. High character guys, so he's going to fit with the team, fit with the players, especially the young guys who are also high character guys. I mean, it's just it's a match made in heaven, man.
So I mean, the guys are getting on us, man. You got Knicks 100, you got Bodega Wi-Fi, Paris Douglas. Shout out to you guys, but they're getting on us about the whole pipe dream thing, man. It's like one guy says this the least logical thing, the other one says deep drive. Why are you worrying about trading up for a point guard? And and then Paris Drugger, he quotes Eddie Murphy and Eddie Murphy song. So
Nice. Yeah, man, I'm sorry, man. I just think Jaden Ivey is just so much better than any other guard in the draft. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but from what I saw from him, man, he's the complete package. If you can get, if he gets close to his ceiling, he's going to be a perennial all-star, not just like an all-star a couple times. He's going to be perennial, and not only that, but he has the potential to be a two-way shooting guard, like a Jaylen Brown type guy. So, I mean, if you can get him, man, he's definitely a little different game than Jaylen Brown, but I'm saying in the way that Jaylen Brown impacts the game both ways, you can kind of do that for us if you get him under the right coach and on the right team with the right fit, which I think at the moment we do have, at least for Ivey. And, yeah, man, I mean, if we got to give up a little bit extra to get him, hey, I'm doing it. We need a needle mover more than anything else, in my opinion. So that's just me. I get it. You guys, a lot of these guys don't want to give up the young guys. They believe in them. Don't want to give up extra draft picks. But hey, I'm sorry, Jaden Ivey, if we can get me a perennial all-star before, he's getting paid 36, 37. That's another thing people forget. When it comes to these guys, these first-round picks are only getting paid like $7 million a year. And not only that, but there's going to be a new salary cap in like 2023, 2024, which is probably going to make his deal like $2 million a year in today's money. So, yeah, I mean, that's value. There's nothing more valuable in the NBA than an all-star on a rookie deal. So if we can get that, man, you do it. And I think he's going to be that.
Absolutely. I mean, you made that point too. Like, and if people always saying, "Oh, in 5 years, this is going to happen." 2 to 5, like in 2 to 5, like you said, the guy's going to be making 30. Jaden Ivey in a couple of years, it'll be 40 million for like the first major contract.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to start thinking about putting this roster together. And if Jaden Ivey's there, we have excess in young guys. We have excess in draft collateral too. So combine some of that stuff and see who bites, man. See if the Kings bite off of that, and then just go for your guy. If Jaden Ivey's that guy, which everyone thinks he is, then we need to just throw everything at him, and hopefully the Kings will bite at that.
Yeah, you got to pounce, man. We can't just be picking guys. Just we're like, all right, maybe eventually be a good starter. He's gonna be a high level bench guy. We can't just keep on picking guys like that. It's never gonna move. We need a needle mover, and besides maybe RJ. We don't really have that. We don't have a guy that we're like, all right, this guy's going to be a Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum type guy. We have RJ, who we hope is going to be that, but we're not 100% sure at the moment. And like I was saying before, contract is going to be cheap, high upside. It's just, to me, it's a match made in heaven. I get guys who want to stay with the young guys, but to me, it's really only RJ that we know is going to be a great player. And I don't want to look 4 years down the line. And Jaden Ivey is, an all-star two-way guard. And then, we're stuck with, Randall and Quickly and some guy in 2023 we took 15th overall that ends up just being a high-level bench player. And we're like, damn, we could have got Jaden Ivey for this. And on, for $7 million per.
Yeah.
So I'm tired of being conservative, man. We got to make a move. We got to be aggressive. That's how teams win championships. So that's the way I'm looking at it.
I'm with you, man. The time is now. A lot of fans are punch drunk with the whole development thing. They want the youth, the draft, from within. They want to develop, and they want to attack the Knicks because they're not developing the guys fast enough. But I mean, you're asking for development, so development takes time. Right now we already have enough young guys here. We already did enough development the last 4 years or whatever with RJ and Mitch and all these guys. It's time to jump into the pool and swim with the big guys already, man. It's not It's like get out the kiddie pool.
Exactly, man. Not only that, I think we got like 7 second-round picks next year, something crazy like that.
Yeah,
are we going to keep all 7 second-round picks? Especially because, there's probably going to be like 2-3 guys that follow second round we really like. Are we really going to waste all second-round picks, or are we trying to move 5 of those for Jaden Ivey? I mean, what are we doing here? I don't need any more mid-tier bench guys. You can get those in free agency. What we can't get in free agency at the moment is a superstar. We ain't getting that until we build a very good team. That's just the way it is. Nobody's coming here unless we can build a very good team. And I think Jaden Ivey can be that guy. We're like, all right, they got RJ, they got Ivey. If I go there, or if me and my homie goes there, we're going to be a contender. And that's what, free agents want. And I think that Ivey can do that for us. He can be that second option, or maybe even first option on a championship team. Who knows? I mean, nobody coming out the draft thought Steph Curry was going to be a number 1 option, or Jokic was going to be a number 1 option on a championship team. And yeah, I mean, hey, if we think that he's got a shot at being that, you got to pull the trigger, man. Can't just hold on to all these assets and just pray to God we win a championship one day. It's not going to work like that. Or pray to God we're going to get a free agent to come save us one day, because that also doesn't work like that. They need a reason to come here. And Jaden Ivey, if he hits like I think he's going to hit, that's a damn good reason to come here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I guess we could wrap it up here, man. State said he's putting his phone on the charger, but I don't think we're gonna be here when he comes back. But let's talk about rumors, man. Any updates on the rumors?
I'm sorry, say that again. My phone almost ran out again. I had to plug it in real quick. Say that one more time.
Well, just rumors, just to wrap up the podcast. What are your thoughts on any rumors? Do you think anything that sticks out to you that seems like it might, it's not just smoke, it might just actually be something smoldering there, some kind of fire?
I think the Jaden Ivey rumors are legit. I think the front office has seen a lot of people that are getting a little frustrated that they're being so conservative at the moment. I think they actually are trying to move up, but at the same exact time, I think they aren't trying to give up too much. But luckily, it looks like the Kings do see Sabonis as a center, so maybe you can say hey, I think I said this early in the podcast, but we'll give you Julius Randle. He may not have the defense Keegan Murray does, but he's a better player overall. And not only that, but we'll throw in the 2023 pick, top 5 protected, and we'll give you the 11th overall pick. Just give us Jaden Ivey. You already got Davion Mitchell and Fox. You can get a good guy at 11. You're probably going to get a stud next year. Next year's draft is pretty stacked, and yeah. And not only that, but you get Julius Randle, and hopefully we can talk them into him being a good player. And hopefully they're not watching a lot of Knicks games and really only saw that 46-point game he had against us. I think that's a legit rumor. Besides that, though, I don't know. I don't really believe the Kyrie thing. I don't see him leaving personally. That's just me. I don't know about you. But, yeah.
Kyrie Irving, I don't want any parts of it. The thing, guys like to burn their own bridges, when with their mouth. They go to a situation and they want to make fun of us all the time. Everybody always wants to make fun of us, but then when they go through bad times, now all of a sudden, the Knicks are interested in this guy. The Knicks are interested in this guy, man. There's all a bunch of BS, man. So I mean, I don't want any parts of that.
Especially with Randall, Thibs. Oh yeah, get that. No, not with those. Not with those two. That would be ugly.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Julius Randle thing. He had to deal with the booze and stuff like that. What is Kyrie gonna do? This guy, he couldn't take it. What is Kyrie going to do once we boo his ass off the court?
He's going to throw the middle finger up or something. He's going to leave the stadium. He's going to, especially with Randall, they probably leave together, honestly. They probably both throw the middle finger up and just dip mid-game.
Kyrie would probably strip naked and throw his uniform into the crowd and just walk out, balls out,
I can see that. I would say there's probably about a 10 to 15% chance that happens if he comes here. Especially under Thibs and Randall, bro. Because, Thibs don't be holding anybody over the age of 26 accountable.
Yeah.
So, hey, I can see it.
Yeah, definitely, man. So, listen, man, I enjoy talking to you, man. I enjoy listening to you speak, man. Listening to you talk basketball, it's incredible, man. So I'm glad you came on, man. I'm glad you had your water. You was able to keep the palate nice and moist so you can get those bars out.
Hey, man, you got to do what you got to do. Got to stay hydrated.
Yeah, man. I wish State was able to pop in here because I know State has some other things he want to throw at you just for conversation purposes and stuff, man. But we'll hopefully we can get you on another time and we can definitely probably after the draft.
Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, just hit me up on Twitter. Anybody else want to check out my Twitter? I believe I changed it over to I'm Stupid Videos. You want to double check?
Yes,
Using Twitter for this stream right now, but I believe it's I'm Stupid Videos on Twitter. That's my handle at the moment.
Yeah, let me get it back up on the screen.
Yeah, no, you're good. Take your time. But yeah, like I said, it should be I'm at Stupid Videos. I do a lot of draft analysis, talk a lot of Knicks. And if you guys got any comments, yep, there it is. I'm Stupid Videos is my ad. It'll come up as Stupid Videos. You see my profile picture right there. It says Stupid. It's got, 2 eyes, tongue licking it, kind of like a diss euphoric kind of thing. But yeah, man, check me out on Twitter. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. DM me if you want to leave it in the comments. That works too.
No doubt, man. So like I say, all these guys, man, you guys are very important to the conversation, very important to the culture. We had Mo Takes the other day. Mo Takes is doing his thing.
Hell yeah, man.
Talking to reporters and stuff like that. You're bringing the draft aspect. So you got all of us are needed. We have our place in this thing, and we're only as good as the fans are because we have no supporters. The only support we have is each other. So
Exactly.
I encourage you to keep up the great work and let's just keep going on with this, man, for the culture.
Yeah, man, I'm down. Just hit me up whenever you want to have me on. I'm down. We'll let you know if I'm free, and if I am, like I said, I'm definitely coming on.
No doubt. All right, so State popped in again. So State, can you hear us good? Yep, I'm not sure if State can hear us. All right, well, so we're gonna end the podcast here, man. So once again, thanks again, Stoop, for popping in and hanging out with us, man. And I hope to have you on again soon, man.
Yep.
All right, no doubt, man. Shout out to the chat. Thanks you guys for
hit them likes.
Yeah, I always forget to do that, because I'm not thinking about that. I'm just thinking about, making a good show and talking about the Knicks. I always forget to ask people to hit the thumbs up. So on the way out, guys, please hit the thumbs up, hit the like, subscribe, and all this other stuff, and comment also on YouTube so we can get that feedback going. So State is back again. It looks like his phone got some energy because now I can see the pixels. I can see the pixels pixelating now. But we out of here, man. You got any closing thoughts, State?
First of all, stop video. I really appreciate you. You did an RJ Barrett move today, and I want that. You held it down beautifully. Everybody, I'm gonna definitely upload this podcast later on tonight. It'll be on in audio by 2 a.m. I appreciate your insight.
Appreciate you for having me on, bud.
Anytime, man. I want to get you. If you're free Thursday, can you come back on the podcast so we could talk definitely while the draft is happening? But
I'm gonna be in AC, man. So
you going? Yeah, I'm gonna be at work.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm working anyway that day, so it's all good.
All right.
We'll figure it out though. Next week or two, I'll definitely come on again.
We'll definitely figure it out. I'm gonna make sure my phone is charged fully, for sure. But
I mean, I got a whole list of things I got to give you, man, so you can be on point, man.
Yeah, don't forget, man. Don't forget, man. But I'm praying to God each night that Leon Rose doesn't move, man. I'm so happy that Star Videos pulled up today. He actually made me feel a little bit better about the 11th pick. He made me feel a little bit better about having abundance of second round picks. So I appreciate you. But the main thing is Leon Rose got to act, and he got to act right now.
Yeah, man. I'm with you.
Yeah. So we're all a little bit more smarter today after hanging out with Stu.
Appreciate y'all. I ain't that smart. I just do a lot of research. So I ain't all that. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, man. All right, man. Thanks for coming in. So peace, guys. See you guys on the next one, man.
Yeah, I'll see you next time, man. Thanks for having me.
Evil did Tom Thibodeau today. I appreciate you, Evil.
I got you, man.
I'll be better prepared next time.
No doubt.
All right, brother.